Imagine Socrates wakes up in the 21st century. He doesn't scream, he doesn't run, he simply watches. He sees machines that carry voices across oceans in an instant. He sees satellites stitched across the night sky. He sees a glowing rectangle that holds more knowledge than the entire library of Alexandria. He sees humans who can speak to artificial minds. Humans who can summon any fact ever recorded with the touch of a finger. And Socrates, the man who spent his life asking questions, finally finds one he cannot answer. How is it that beings this powerful look this lost?
He watches a man cross a street while staring at his phone, nearly killed by a car he never saw. He watches a woman unlock her screen, forget why, and lock it again, then unlock it 10 seconds later. He watches people who can control machines and cannot control themselves. This is the paradox that should terrify us more than any of our technology. We became gods over the external world and strangers inside our own minds. To understand how this happened, we have to look at something we almost never think about: the speed of two different clocks. One clock is civilization, the other is the human brain, and they have not been running at the same speed. For most of our existence, a human being lived a very simple life. A hunter needed to track one deer, avoid one predator, trust one small tribe of maybe 150 people. That was the entire world. Your brain was built for that world. It was sculpted across 200,000 years to survive scarcity, danger, and the opinions of a tiny group of people you would know your whole life. Then, something strange began to accelerate. 10,000 years ago, we planted seeds and agriculture was born. 5,000 years ago, we built the first cities. 600 years ago, a printing press began copying ideas faster than any human hand. 200 years ago, machines started doing the work of 1,000 men. 30 years ago, the internet connected nearly every mind on Earth.
And now, artificial intelligence can think alongside us. Look at that timeline. Each leap arrives faster than the one before it. Civilization didn't just grow, it exploded. And here's the part that should stop you cold. Through all of it, your brain barely changed. The mind reading these words is almost identical to the mind of someone who sat in a cave and watched fire for the first time. We are running ancient software inside an impossible world. Every generation inherited a world slightly more complex than the last. Ours inherited a world no biological evolution had time to prepare us for. A teenager today processes more information before breakfast than an ancient king saw in a lifetime. We didn't evolve for this. We built it. And then we had to live inside it with a mind that was never designed for the building. That gap between what we created and what we can handle is where the suffering lives.
Now we arrive at the real war, and it's invisible. It isn't fought with weapons. It's fought over something you give away 1,000 times a day without noticing: your attention. Here is a truth the modern world would rather you never fully understood. The most valuable resource on Earth is no longer oil, it is no longer gold, it is human awareness. And there is an entire economy built to harvest it. Think about what your attention is actually worth. Every app on your phone employs some of the most brilliant people alive: engineers, psychologists, designers. Their job is not to help you, their job is to capture you, to keep your eyes on the screen for 3 more seconds.
Then 3 more. Then 30 more minutes you'll never get back. I want to be careful here.
These are not cartoon villains. No one is twirling a mustache behind your phone. They are simply systems. Systems competing for a resource that is strictly limited. Because here is the brutal arithmetic of being human. You only get a certain number of waking hours, and every single one of them is being fought over. History's greatest empires conquered land. The modern empire conquers attention. Social media wants them. Advertising wants them. Politics wants them. Endless entertainment wants them. Notifications interrupt you to take them by force. And the supply never grows. Your attention is the one truly finite thing you own, and you are spending it faster than you've ever spent money. More than a century ago, a psychologist named William James saw the foundation of all of this. He said that we are constantly bombarded by an overwhelming chaos of sensation, and what saves us from drowning in it is attention. Attention decides what becomes real to you. The thing you focus on becomes your world. The thing you ignore may as well not exist. Read that again. What you pay attention to is your life, not metaphorically, literally. Your experience is built moment by moment out of whatever you allow into your awareness. So when something else chooses what you pay attention to, it is quietly choosing your life for you. But there's a deeper layer beneath even this. Because to lose your attention is one thing, to never have owned it in the first place is something far stranger. Carl Jung spent his life exploring a haunting idea that most of what drives a human being is not conscious at all. He believed the conscious mind is like a small lit room, and surrounding it in every direction is a vast unlit house. The shadow, the instincts, the forgotten wounds, the automatic patterns running beneath the surface. Jung's most unsettling insight was this: until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Think about that. The reaction you can't control, the habit you keep repeating, the scroll you didn't decide to start. How much of your day did you actually choose? And how much simply happened to you? Most people, Jung understood, are not living. They are reacting. Awareness begins the moment reaction becomes a choice. A stimulus arrives. A response fires. No one chose anything. The lights in the little room never even turned on. And the modern world is engineered precisely for that unconscious version of you. It speaks directly to the automatic mind. It bypasses the part of you that reflects. It feeds the part of you that simply reacts. So, let me ask you something, and I want you to answer it honestly. When was the last time you deliberately chose what occupied your mind for an entire hour? Not what you were forced to think about, not what an algorithm served you, but what you, consciously, decided was worthy of your awareness. For many people, the honest answer is, they can't remember. And that is not a personal failure. It is the predictable result of an ancient mind living inside a world designed to keep it asleep. Now, finally, we can talk about strength. Real strength. The kind almost no one possesses. Nietzsche gave the world an idea that has been misunderstood for over a century. The Übermensch, the overman. People imagine some towering figure of dominance and power. That was never the point. Nietzsche's real concern was the human being who creates their own values, who refuses to live as a herd animal, who becomes the author of their own life instead of a character in someone else's story. So let me translate him into our century. The superhuman of today is not the strongest person in the room. It is not the richest. It is not the one with the most followers. The superhuman of the 21st century is simply this: a person who can decide what deserves their attention and hold that decision inside a world engineered to shatter it. That's it. That is the rarest power left. In a civilization where almost everything competes for your attention, the person who owns their mind becomes impossible to manipulate. Not building rockets, not commanding armies, but the quiet, almost invisible act of directing your own mind on purpose. And if you think that sounds small, consider where this idea was tested most severely.
Viktor Frankl survived the concentration camps. He lost almost everything a human can lose: his freedom, his family, his name. His body was no longer his own. And in that place, stripped of everything, he discovered something that no guard could ever take. Between what happens to us and how we respond, there is a space. And in that space lies our freedom. They could control his entire world. They could not control where he placed his awareness. That was the last freedom. And it was the one freedom that could not be confiscated. Now, understand what that means for you. If a man could hold that freedom inside the worst place ever built by human hands, then you can hold it against a notification. You can hold it against an algorithm. You can hold it against an entire economy built to fragment your mind. The space Frankl found is the same space you have. The only question is whether you ever step into it.
So let's return to Socrates. Standing in our world, watching beings who command machines, but cannot command themselves. He would not tell us to destroy our technology. The technology is extraordinary. It is not the enemy. The enemy was never the machine. The enemy is living unconsciously. It is going through your one and only life on automatic, reacting without choosing, consuming without deciding, awake but never truly aware. We have spent the whole of human history trying to master the world outside us. We tamed fire. We crossed oceans. We split the atom. We built mines out of silicon. And in all that mastery, we forgot the one territory that was always ours to govern. The territory between our own ears.
The future will not belong to those who master technology. It will belong to those who master themselves before they ever touch it. Because awareness is not another habit to add to your morning routine. It is not a productivity trick. It is the ground that everything else stands on. Every choice, every relationship, every moment you will ever actually experience, all of it is built from what you agree to notice. In the 21st century, the rarest and most valuable skill is no longer intelligence. It is no longer knowledge. It is the ability to choose what deserves your awareness. And now, perhaps, you understand the words you heard at the very beginning, the ones that seemed so simple. My experience is what I agree to attend to. That was never just a quote. It was the answer. It was waiting for you the entire time. The only question that remains is what you will choose to attend to now.